Hello and welcome to the future today, where we bash the opportunities of the future up against the realities of today. Today's topic: the top 10 investors. Do they crypto? Do they not crypto? It's time to find out. Let's put it to the test. So we're going to go through the top 10 investors as identified by the Motley Fool. And we're going to figure out what the top 10 active investment minds in the world think of crypto. So if you like this kind of content, please give us a like or subscribe and we'll drill down even further. So why even do this? Like, I don't know if I'm full disclaimer, I've invested in crypto, done very well in crypto, but I'm just some guy in a weird green shirt with a prison window in the background. Why should you take my word for it? Well, I've invested in crypto, but sometimes, like today, it's just good to do a sanity check. And sometimes I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. And I want to know, what do the great minds of our times think? So, one of the things that's become really apparent to me lately is that as I watch videos, as I search for things on the internet, I get more of the things that I like. That sells ads. I've spent many years in the media business and I know how that works. Media business is in charge of giving you things you want to read, things you want to see, things you click on. And if you're not careful, you go around liking this, liking that, liking the other. And before you know it, you're caught in this echo chamber where everything you read agrees with you. And this has vast repercussions for all of us in a lot of things. But it's time to take a step away from what we're reading based on what we're clicking and really get an objective view. And what more objective view could there be than asking or finding out what the top 10 investors think about this? Now, there's a certain note on this analysis. So the list I'm working from is compiled by the Motley Fool. And as I went through this list of the most respected investors, I realized something. A lot of them are dead. Some of the most respected investors are dead. All the people that Warren Buffett emulates, and I got to be frank about some of this. Some of the most successful investors have had the longest track record, which means they're nearing the end of their time on this planet. So I want to give that note that I have taken all of the dead people off the list. And for the record, all the dead people didn't like crypto. So we're not counting those people in this analysis. We're looking at thoughts of the living, or the very established, not old, established investors. So let's start with number one, Bill Ackman. This is fascinating. I watch him, I respect him, I admire him. He's been an incredible investor on the topic of crypto. He's in, then he's out, then he's in. And this guy has really gone back and forth. Like, he has said he's in on crypto, and then he even went further and listed some tokens that he was really into, including cryptos like helium that I find particularly interesting for their real world application. But then he came out with this announcement, and then FTX happened and Sam Bankman fraud happened. And well, it's just, I can't call it either way. I'm going to call him a fence rider. So our number one pick is a fence rider. And I respect that. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. If you're managing my money, I want you to be objective and go back and forth. So kind of a pause there for the first buzzkill for the first one, but we'll see what Bill Ackman really thinks based on where he puts his money. Number two, Warren Buffett, amazing investor. Think so much of him, but he doesn't think so much of me and my investment strategy. He's quoted as saying, I wouldn't buy all the Bitcoin in the world for $25 because it has no intrinsic value. All right. So that gives us one fence rider, one bear, and zero bulls. All right. Number three, Kathy Woods. Anybody know where she stands on this issue? Yes. Couldn't make that more clear. So she's all over this. She's all in on crypto. So we got one bull, we got one bear. Kathy Wood has a lot of really interesting things to say. Of course, she's the person who backed Tesla and many of the AI things that we know about. So she's one to watch, and she's a bull. So the Bulls won, Bears won, and the Fence Riders are one. Number 4, Carl Icahn. Now, I thought, based on my knowledge of this guy's investment, that he'd be out. But guess what? He's in. He is in on crypto. So we got 2 bulls, 1 bear, and we got 1 fence rider. Now, I'm not going to butcher his last name. I'm not going to call him Chamath, because that would imply that I know him somehow, and I don't. I think I met him once at a conference. But this guy, fascinating story. He was all in on Bitcoin until last year. Why did he pull out? Fear of regulation. Governments don't like Bitcoin. That's kind of governments don't like crypto. That's kind of a hurdle. So he said, at least in the US, he's out. Interestingly, though, he is in on certain cryptos. So read more on him. He's got some interesting perspectives, especially Solana. Really like Solana. So this guy's someone to watch. I'm not going to call him a fence rider. I'm going to call him a bear, because that's where he is right now. Crypto bear, but someone to keep an eye on. George Soros. Now, I thought, based on everything I know about George Soros and not delving into anything about Pizzagate and all the crazy rumors that surround everything this guy does, but he owns 760 Bitcoin. Mind blown. I think that's in a personal account. I'm not sure that he's investing Soros fund management money in crypto, but he may be. So now we're at 3 bulls. The bulls are ahead. Bears are close, though. Bears are really close. And of course, we've got a fence rider, Sally Krawcheck. Now, she was CEO of financial institutions, very well respected, highly regarded, one of the highest regarded female investors around, and she is not in on Bitcoin. So she says, don't put your retirement in it. So now the bulls and bears are even. Bulls 3, bears 3, fence riders 1. So interesting. Will be interesting to see if she changes her position. But as of now, out. So we're dead even. Bulls 3, bears 3, fence riders 1. And Jim Rogers comes onto the list. Now, Jim Rogers is really interesting because he was all in. He was totally all in. And recently you said the most interesting thing, I thought, which is my wife invests in crypto, of all things. What? All right. So if your wife invests in it, are you in or on? I dare say you're in, but Rogers shares that same concern about governments regulating Bitcoin and crypto out of existence. Very successful investors. So we need to pay attention to that. We're dead even. Bulls 4, bears 4, fence riders 1. All right. So number 9, this is getting really close. Number 9. Wow, I have balloons for some reason. Number 9. Yes, I have balloons because David and Tom Gardner created this list. They're the Motley Fool guys, and they put themselves on their top 10 list of investors. Who am I to argue? They put 5 million in Bitcoin on their balance sheet in 2017. I wonder how that's worked out. Dare say pretty darn well. So these guys are Bitcoin advocates. So now we got Bitcoin bulls 5, Bitcoin crypto bears 4, fence riders number 1. We are coming up on our last and final of the top 10 investors as identified by Motley Fool. And number 10 is Mark Faber, long-time cynic, long-time crypto cynic. Just recently, within the last year, he's flipped. Famous Swiss investor Mark Faber finally favors Bitcoin, finally buys Bitcoin, put his money where his mouth is. So that means we have bulls 5, bears 4, fence riders 1. So how does this all play out? Well, here's the rundown. And I think it's really interesting, especially if you're like me and you'd like to do a sanity check every now and then and not just move your face around the screen like I do all the time. We know the bear count, we know the bull count, but of the people who are out, of the people who got out after being in, why did they? And there is no intrinsic value is one of the things that stands out about these naysayers, and regulatory threat is one of the things that really stands out amongst these naysayers, especially the people who are in and got out, whether their spouse buys crypto or not. So this is a really interesting analysis. But at the end of the day, if you want to do that sanity check, then the verdict is bulls 5, bears 4, fence riders 1, and so the bulls win. So if you invest in crypto, you are in good company, but just barely. Again, if you like this kind of analysis, if you like this kind of thing, give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us create more content like this. It helps us all sanity check and give ourselves objective ways, or more objective ways, of evaluating our investment decisions, our trading decisions, and not just getting caught in the echo chamber of media companies that give us the next thing that we're likely to click on. And that is the future today.